Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Days. I'm Wanda, and today we're going to tour on my herb garden here. I've not done a tour on the herb garden very much here lately, and I've had to change plans this morning of what I was going to do because Danny's cleared out a thing over here. Let's see if I can not make you drunk. Right there. My hands are dirty too. We're trying to get it ready for the cows to have a lane because the pond is not full of water. And we can't have them just wandering off on the sides and breaking the sides down. So we got to make a new lane around it till it gets full of water. And in the process, he's digging up my ginger. I had two different kinds of ginger over there where he's making a lane. And I'm having to replant it. We're planting some here and some over at the cabin. We're just rearranging ginger everywhere. And I have probably 4 different types or 5 of ginger on our place, all over the place. So the herb garden tour today is because I'm planting ginger here, and I had to do a little cleanup. I had to pull weeds. You know, even in an herb garden you have to pull weeds because there's some things you just don't want in there. So let's see what I've got going on. First off, our little fence, our little picket fence that we have is not treated wood. We got some old wood that somebody was pitching. Danny sawed it up into little boards. We painted it and made a picket fence. It's been about 5-6 years, and it's kind of getting in bad shape. We've got a panel missing here and there, and so we want to redo. That's going to be a big project for me shortly, is putting a new picket fence around the herb garden. Now out here in this, I planted the plumera, which is a Hawaiian plant. It was huge. It was growing up last year, the year before, and I overwintered it, and it had pink blooms on it, but I thought I'd lost it. You see, it was in bad shape. It froze during the winter, but look at this. It is coming out everywhere. So I still got the plumera, and we'll probably try and cover this part this year since I didn't last year. I still have sage growing in here, and this is, I think, block 14 Comfrey. It's doing beautifully here. Now, in this herb garden, we planted this tree. When I came here, back in the back here, way back there where you see that big, huge tree, right beside it was a Tangelo tree. And it produced hundreds of tangelos. I'm talking 300 to 500 tangelos the first 2 years. Then it froze back. And this was a root that came up. It's never bloomed, it's never put anything on, but look how big. It is a citrus plant. We just don't know if it'll ever produce, but we gave it a chance. Now as you come in my gate, my little gate, we're going to rearrange, remember, but this plant is an airplane plant. Someone sent this to me recently, and it's got babies everywhere. And it's called an airplane plant because these hang like out there, but I've got them propped on the fence out of the way so don't get on them. I've been cleaning. I have a walkway in here, stone walkway that Danny made, but the oregano has went wild. It does every year, and it had covered the walkway, and it had leaves and stuff under it. So I was cleaning the walkway, moving the oregano. We'll trim some of that back, and it'll get a fresh start. We have a lot of violets. These are just the violets that come up in the woods here. I let those go, and they come up all over the place. Here we have what is called pineapple sage. You can break these leaves and it smells just like pineapple, but it is a type of sage. It's perfect for sausages and stuff like that. I mean, anything you want a pineapple-y taste to, this works wonderful. Now, I planted a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I see a weed. Let's get it out. I didn't get all the weeds, guys. I'm still pulling weeds. I planted 1 strawberry in here, and from that 1 strawberry, all this came from 1 strawberry. So we're going to dig these up because you can see the bugs are starting to get them. This was not the best place for strawberries, and I'm going to move those to one of the new greenhouses. We planted some of the multiplying onions here. They're doing okay right now. Over here we have some thyme that came back out. This overwinters. Now that I've got it cleaned up enough that I can see it's in there, maybe it'll do better. This is Malabar Spinach. I've got to get it and the tree out of there. This is my Moringa tree. It's doing really great. I just haven't had time to transplant it. So we're probably going to dig a hole in a few minutes and just put that in the ground. I just planted one of the gingers here and more violets. They just came up in that pot. I decided to leave them because they bloom and they're beautiful. And here is some of the block 4 Comfrey, I believe. We have two different types, 4 and 14 here at Deep South. I had just put this little sprig in here because this is a good thing to chop and drop. When it comes out, I just chopped some of the leaves off the bottom and dropped it around other plants, and it helps them to grow. Here we have our bay tree. Now these bay leaves are good to cook with. That's why we have it. Lippy from Gemini Homestead brought it to us, and some little creature's been eating on my leaves. Sure enough. And we have Malabar spinach, yes, everywhere. It's coming up, it's doing crazy. It has Malabar spinach in it, and you can see the creatures get that too. But look how big these leaves will get. This is nothing compared to what was in the greenhouse. And it's just going crazy. It's got seeds coming on. We'll be able to save seeds and hopefully sell a few this winter. And we have rosemary in here. I use rosemary a lot. I love my rosemary. So Danny has the ginger dug up here. He's going to be moving it to a new location, but isn't that beautiful? I'm going to plant a couple of the small root pieces in the herb garden to give it some space to grow, but he's going to be moving this part. Alright, in this one spot right here, as you come in, we've always had trees there. We've had two different type of trees. They did really good for a couple of years. Then something would happen, they'd die back. So I planted ginger, the big ginger I just showed you that Danny dug up. I just put some roots in there for now. Here we have more rosemary. I showed you we have rosemary over there. We have rosemary here. This has got small leaves, and it blooms white. It's pretty, and it doesn't get real tall, maybe about 3 to 4 feet at the most. We've got a bird bath in here, again with our citrus tree. A lot of people say something about this. This is their one thing. Why do you have a shrimp plant? Look up the medicinal purposes of shrimp plants. Guys, they have medicinal value. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. The beauty alone is something that's awesome. When this thing is in full bloom, and no, it's not in full bloom, it's kind of waning some. It's been blooming for a couple of months, and when it's in full bloom, this thing is just hanging with these beautiful blooms all over it. Now, it's got a lot of medicinal purposes, and you can use it for different teas and things like that. Another moringa. It is doing really well here. The moringa seems to like my herb garden. I usually have some in here every year. And one of my older rosemaries. It is doing really awesome. And behind it, more pineapple sage back there. Another shrimp plant. We don't have anything in this area here. I just pulled out some stuff all in here. We're going to be adding back more herbs all in this area. I do have an aloe that has a weed. I try to keep some aloe out here in this garden, but I get it where I can take it in. We have Malabar spinach. Y'all, that stuff, once you get it started, it comes up everywhere. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of the herb garden. I just wanted to show you a little bit about what I have going on. I have herbs everywhere. This is not the only herbs I have. There's almost any type of herb you want here at Deep South, but planted in various locations. I don't put everything in this garden. We started this garden late. It was a daylily bed about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I took all the daylilies up, started adding some herbs. The rest of the herbs are all over the place. I mean, we planted them by trees, we've got them in the woods, we've got them everywhere. And so we're trying to get some of them in the greenhouse too. So we have just all kinds of herbs. So if you think this is all Deep South has, not really. This is just my herb garden that I've started, that I'm trying to get going, and I hope at some point to have it fully functional. So thank you guys from Crazy Days.